So now I work in for people who don't know, I work in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Which, if you're not from Rhode Island, there's no chance you're gonna know what Pawtucket, Rhode Island is. But you know Pawtucket. It's not. The nickname is the Bucket. So you don't. It's not really the greatest place on earth. But there's this guy. I mean, there's the parking lot that we have to park in our new building is just overgrown with like trees and little bushes, and it like goes into the parking lot. So when we only have like 2 rows where we can park to begin with, and one of the rows there's just these huge sticks like sticking out of the fence that like you can't really like pull or back your car in, or else it'll scratch your car. So when I went to work on, it was like Tuesday or Wednesday, I on my lunch break, I went outside and there's this guy. He doesn't work for Colette, so I don't know where he's from. And you're not really supposed to park in that lot unless you work for Colette. But he had a chainsaw, he had like shears, he had like all these things. And he was just going to town on the sticks that were sticking out of the fence. Just going crazy. But I don't know like why. I don't know if he saw like we had to park there and he was upset for us. But
in his defense, nothing's more scary than a man who is on the last inch of his rope when it comes to lawn work. If you get angry about lawn work, just the tools that go along with it, you're just like you're running around with big, giant, sharp objects.
Yeah, machetes, chainsaws. So now I've never seen him before, and I haven't seen him since. But like he cut down all the trees, but he just left it all over the parking lot. So now there's these huge branches everywhere, like taking up multiple parking spots. So he solved the problem of the the branches coming over into the parking lot, but now they're just all over the ground.
Could he have been a disgruntled like worker at Colette?
No, he's not, because there's only 2 departments that work in my building, and my department is 6 people. I know everyone in my department, and I know everyone in the air department. Also, he couldn't, like, I doubt his supervisor would be like, "Hey, you brought your chainsaw today, right? Can you go out and take care of all the branches in the parking lot?" So he must just be a good Samaritan. So, sir, if for whatever reason you're listening to this podcast, I appreciate you, but yeah. Quite a, and the thing is, it wasn't surprising because Pawtucket, you know Pawtucket. It's like, oh, there's a guy with a chainsaw in the parking lot. Okay.
I was gonna say people might know Pawtucket from Family Guy because of Pawtucket Ale.
That's true.
Yeah, that would be the only reason. That would be the only reason, though, you'd know what Pawtucket is. That would be
right, unless you're a historian of the town of Pawtucket, the city of Pawtucket.
In which case, honestly, like Pawtucket is bigger. Is more important on the scale of the country than people think. It's like people credit the Slater Mill as being the place where the Industrial Revolution began.
I will say it does have quite the rich history. So you're right there.
It hasn't blossomed into much.
It's been going backwards ever since.
Rookie of the year and nothing since.
You're absolutely right. Well, everyone listening, welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast number 73. April 5th, 2019. We're podcasting on a beautiful Friday afternoon. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and along with me is
Matt. Yep. I just changed my name back to Matt.
What was it prior?
It's never been Matt. I can't tell you what the other name was.
Oh, it's secret? Okay. That makes sense. For those of you new, for those of you who have been here before, we are all over the social medias. We have our written word blog, averagenobodies.com. We're on Twitter at AverageNobodies, and we have a very diverse and large YouTube page as far as videos go, and it's youtube.com/TheAverageNobodies. You can listen to this podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and pretty much anywhere podcasts are listenable. I believe that's the word, listenable.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah. So, Matt, it's only been a week, but what have you been up to?
So I've been in Boston working on a trade show. But that's not very exciting. What was happening? outside of me working in Boston is what was exciting. And I wouldn't call it exciting. I call it scary.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
so I checked into my hotel in Boston, and the room I had was not like any other that I've had before. You walk into a little hallway, and then to the left and right is rooms. And so my room was on the right, this other room was on the left, and that's it. Like you walk off the main hallway, and you have 2 doors. So I walk into my hotel room, and the first thing I do when I get in there is I go and take a shower because the hot water's been on the fritz at our house. So I'm like, gotta take a hot shower. Can't wait. So I get in the shower. I take a shower. I get out. I'm drying off. I have the towel wrapped around my shoulders, completely naked otherwise. Just wrapped around my shoulders. I go into the closet to get my bathrobe, which is the move. So I open the door to what I think is the closet, but it's really just the door to the hallway. And I swing the door open, and before I have a real it should have been like I open it a little bit and like there's the hallway, but I had the towel around like my face, and so like when I take the towel off my face, I scream, "Oh shit!" and I slam the door. And there was luckily nobody was in sight. Like thank God, because I think I probably would be arrested right now. Nobody
would be arrested.
Well, the reason why I did it is the door. So the way I walked in, the door was on the side of the room. If the door is a rectangle, if the room is a rectangle, usually you walk in at the top of the rectangle. You know what I mean? The short wall, you walk in and you walk down into the room. This, you come in from the side, and the closet was at the top of the room, the complete opposite of what normal hotel rooms are. So it was a fucking scary incident for a little bit there. I slammed the door shut as fast as I could, and it was just, yeah, I was like, my heart was beating for the next 20 minutes straight. Imagine if I had just like walked out of the door and it locked behind me.
You're just stuck forever. Well, I mean, at least you would have had the towel, but
yeah. So that's what I've been up to. Besides that, kind of like getting ready for our big weekend. You doing anything, Ryan, this weekend?
No plans. Yeah, probably just gonna hang in. Maybe watch a good documentary if I can find one.
Yeah. Same with me. And then maybe if I have some time, we'll drive down to WrestleMania.
If we have time, if we can fit it into the schedule. I
haven't been looking forward to it for months or anything. Yeah.
No, definitely not since the fall. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's. I'm so glad it's finally here. I do have that as a topic for later, just so we can discuss it quick. But what I wanted to talk about, and I've been trying to do this more often, is to be like more observant while I'm driving. And I'm obviously paying attention to the driving as well, not just looking up as I'm driving. But I just feel like I notice, I want to so people are so strange, especially when they drive, because there's definitely that protectiveness when you're inside a car. Like, people can see you, but maybe they can't. So I'm going to do like strange things. Oh, yeah. And I was driving home Wednesday from work, and it's the time of the year, so when I'm driving home, the sun is just like at the top of the sky, and it's super bright. Even if you have sunglasses on, it still is just really, really bright, especially if it's a sunny day. So I'm driving home, and there's a car next to me, and the guy's driving, and then his wife is like shielding the sun with some type of object. Like, doesn't have sunglasses on, doesn't have her visor down, and she's just shielding the sun. I'm like, what is that object? So I get closer, and she has a license plate, and she's shielding herself from the sun, and it's reflecting off the license plate onto her husband who's driving. It was just the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
Was it the license plate for the car they were in?
No, the car did have a license plate on the front and back.
This was just another license plate.
This was just another license plate, a spare license plate that she had handy that she clearly uses, unless she just like picked it up off the ground and thought this was going to be the best shield. I don't think it was, because her husband, the sun was reflecting off the license plate directly into his eyes. So it was just very funny. And then driving at a different time this week, I saw a bumper sticker, and it was just a picture of a boat. And it said, "Ship happens," which is I found very funny. But like, I don't know if I would ever get that, but you know what I mean? Like if you saw that bumper sticker, would you buy it?
No.
No,
There's so many things in this world that I see and I'm like, who is that for? And that like that a ship happens bumper sticker would be no, listen, it's not that I don't think it's funny. That it is
it
funny.
is funny.
Like
Yeah.
it's just a funny thing, but like would I ever put that on my car? Probably not.
No.
Like would I ever use like I wouldn't use 99% of bumper stickers for what they're actually for. Like I don't really stick them on my car, but there are some people that really go to the extremes with bumper stickers and they have everything that they can be like what they're about is on their car. Like
Yes.
all their beliefs are on their car. So no, but that is funny. I would like to meet this person and find out who the target market is for bumper stickers like that.
As would I. And I also, unfortunately, this week saw the anti-abortion guy. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. He gets everywhere. He gets everywhere. He's an old man, right? This is the same guy we're thinking of?
Yeah, he's got to be like in his 70s.
Yeah. And he at 6 o'clock in the morning decides it's okay to tell me I'm going to hell.
Yep. Yeah. So you know what? Like there was one morning, Matt. There was one morning. It was a Monday morning. I was really hungover from the night before. Had a couple too many beers on Sunday, and I was just in a real vicious mood, like miserable mood. Heading to work, like I was just so mad at the world. Really more mad at myself. Like I hate drinking during the week. I just hate being hungover for work. But some Sundays just gets the best of you. What are you gonna do? Yeah. But so I'm driving to work, and he's out there. I was so close to just pulling into a parking lot and going out and just throwing him into traffic and lighting all his signs on fire. I was like so mad. I just thought about it all day. That like if he's there when I drive back home, I'm gonna like hit my car or like throw him into traffic. He wasn't there on the way home, but some days it was probably good for him, but some days he just pisses me off. But yeah, so that's I think that's all I've been up to, working and that's it. Getting ready for the weekend.
Yeah, I after WrestleMania, as you know, I'm flying up to Toronto, so I'm back on the road again.
Busy man.
Busy man. Hopefully I'll be podcasting from Toronto though, don't you worry. We'll be I'll be on schedule. So, but yeah, and then I'm back for a week and then I go away for like another 3 weeks.
Damn.
This is like the busiest time of year for us. It's like February through like the end of May is like super busy. And then like June there's like one show and then it stops until like the fall. As far as like the shows I'm doing. So
this is your busy travel time.
Very busy travel time, yeah. The spring, fall, winter, spring, definitely. So that's it. But excellent. While I was out traveling, I saw that first of all, a few new movie trailers dropped. We'll talk about that. But number one, the Joker trailer, the Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix Joker trailer.
Yeah, which looks, and I like Todd Phillips a lot because he did The Hangover, right? It's the same Todd Phillips?
Correct. Yeah,
okay.
Same guy.
And he's done Due Date, which I think is severely underrated. I love that movie.
Yeah. Great movie.
And I'm not a superhero guy. I haven't watched any Iron Man, Thor, Avengers. I've seen the first Captain America. I just don't, I don't watch them. It's not that I don't like them. I just don't watch them. Yeah. And I think the Joker's kind of already been as close to perfect as we're going to get, with Heath Ledger. And this was before I saw the trailer, which was stunning. I mean, it was so good. I'm so excited for this movie now. And I mean, I love Joaquin Phoenix. He's just one of those people who you look at him, you're like, he's close to losing it. It's not, or is this all an act? Like maybe he's just a super normal guy. I don't know. But I don't know. I think it just looks amazing. So I'm very, very excited for it.
Yeah, me too. It looks awesome and has that perfect, like, it has the tone that I'm looking for. Sometimes, like, I think the DCEU and like with the DC Extended Universe, what they've been doing recently with like Zack Snyder and stuff is something completely different than what was done with Christopher Nolan and those Batman movies. Both are very dark, but in two different ways. Like with the Zack Snyder, like you have the cosmic, like, you know, the very like stylized superhero stuff. But with Christopher Nolan, you had the very like down to earth Batman, the very down to earth Joker. They both seem like these are people that could exist in our world.
Well,
If there was a
character study.
yeah, if there was a Gotham City. So I was always I was excited by that, and this Todd Phillips Joker movie seems about the same as well. It's a man that's been pushed to the edge. It's like you can't get any more real than that. Like that's something that happens every day in society.
Yeah, and what I didn't know, so Martin Scorsese is one of the executive producers.
Yes, which was one of like the weird things at the beginning when that happened. People were like, "Why would he be? Why would he be a producer on this?"
And I guess it's because Todd Phillips kind of drew up a lot of inspiration from The King of Comedy, which was Scorsese's movie from 1982, which it's a very similar plot line. It's because if you look on IMDb for the Joker movie, the one-line synopsis is a failed stand-up comedian is driven insane and becomes a psychopathic murderer. So that's not the same as The King of Comedy as far as the murderer part, as far as I can remember. I've seen the movie once, but I know Robert De Niro's character is a failed stand-up comedian who ends up kidnapping the host of the Tonight Show because he can't get on the show. It drives him insane.
What a movie! What a movie! That is one of my favorite Scorsese movies. I love. I've seen that a bunch of times. And like, if Goodfellas wasn't a thing, like that would be like my favorite like movie with Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
but,
it's hard to top.
I just love Goodfellas. It's just Goodfellas is so. But I think that's one of the reasons why Robert De Niro is probably attached to this as well.
He's in it.
Yeah. That's why I think that I'm sure a call from Scorsese gets anybody out of their chair, especially someone with as rich history in film as Scorsese and De Niro.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks really good. Joaquin Phoenix is a fantastic actor, and he seems like he's really gotten into that role of this tortured guy who, he thinks he's the funniest guy in the world, and everyone should agree. And when they don't, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, did like the feeling of the trailer have like, did it make you think that like they're trying to make us feel sympathy for the Joker with like all the bullying stuff that was happening?
Yeah, for sure. I think that they're trying to make you feel sympathy, but I also think they're trying to like explain where he's coming from. So I guess, show empathy towards him. I think that's
because I think they're trying to tap into something of, because if you just show like, if the first frame of the movie is the Joker like killing an innocent person, you're like, I don't like this guy. But I think they're trying to, see like, what kind of person are you? Like, are you someone who's like, all right, you know what? I'm rooting for this guy. Fuck those other people. Like they're bullying him, they're torturing him, they deserve what they get. Or are you the type of person who's going to have a little better moral compass and say, no, like, yeah, you got bullied, but you can't just go and murder everyone. You can't just become this ultimate villain. So I think they're that's my favorite kind of movie. It's like, all right, you decide what type of person you are. Like, we're not saying this guy's good. Yes, he's bad with the things he does, but do you think he's justified? Like, you make that decision. Which those are my favorite types of movies. So if it's like that, which it looks like from the trailer, then I think it's just going to be a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it looks really good. This is and with the whole thing. And I know you're not a big like with the Marvel, the MCU, and all that. The thing that Marvel has done that no other studio will ever be able to recreate is like be able to string all these movies together and make this cohesive universe. Like, these movies are cohesive like I've never seen before. Like, it'll never, like, even with like movies that have 3, 4, 5 sequels, you can't have the type of continuity that Marvel has over like 22 movies. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, the way that the story just flows. DC was never able to do that, like, as far as on the scale that Marvel's doing it. But maybe this is what they are. Maybe that you find a few really good directors and you find some actors that are really willing to like put everything into certain characters in the DC comic book universe, and you just make these like one-offs or like 1 or 2 movies, or even like the Christopher Nolan route, make a trilogy. And I think that like that's the way DC needs to go, because with Zack Snyder and that whole thing with the Justice League, now that everybody's like falling out of it, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's working.
Yeah, and I mean, how many different directors are in that Marvel universe? To like, I mean,
it's ridiculous. It's so many. There's like, I mean, there's well, you have the Russo brothers, obviously, that have been handling the last 2 Avengers movies. You have Joss Whedon, who did the first Avengers movie. You have James Gunn, who handles the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and that's something that's completely like unique. Like, he's back on for the 3rd one. No one has directed 3 Marvel movies. It's Jon Favreau did Iron Man 1 and 2, and then that was it. And then I forget who took over for 3. But like, Thor has had different directors for each one of its movies. I can't say his name. Taika Waititi? What's his name? That can't be it. I'm so sorry.
If that's it, then that's a hell of a pronunciation.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know how to do. I don't know how to pronounce it though.
He was Thor Ragnarok's director. The Russo brothers did Avengers: Infinity War, and they also are doing the upcoming Endgame. But yeah, it doesn't happen like that. It you don't have multiple. Everybody's a different director with a different. Somehow they're all able to have their own twist on movies, but make it all one cohesive universe, which is pretty cool.
So now, what were the other trailers that came out?
Well, so Avengers Endgame got a new trailer, and it was like it didn't really show new footage, but they're doing this thing where they just remix old footage and like some promotional clips for the new movie, and they put it with this awesome music, and they show a new clip of Thanos, and like they have everybody wrapped around their finger. It's an amazing trailer. I do suggest you go check it out. But like, it had me like, so I've never been more excited for anything to see in theaters, like anything ever. Like, this is gonna be like I'm excited to see the Joker and everything, but I've never been more excited to see a movie than Avengers Endgame. It's crazy how excited I am for it.
Well, I feel like they've earned like your trust after the last Avengers, right?
Yeah, they'll never be like as far as like in the near future too. Like, there's never going to be a Marvel movie that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to see that, because I'm invested in the whole bigger picture story they're telling, and I don't want to miss anything. And like, for them, this is going to wrap up their first 10 years, first 10, 11 years. This is going to wrap it all up. And then they're going to continue from there with new actors. I mean, not like new actors replacing old actors, just, new characters. Some characters will be left behind. But I'm assuming Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. will be done. Whether or not they're killed or not is yet to be seen. I don't know yet. They could just also retire as superheroes and show up like whenever.
Because there's been no like change in casting, right, from the main superheroes throughout any of these movies.
No, the only person that got recasted was Terrence Howard. He was War Machine, and now Don Cheadle plays him.
Oh.
But that was like Terrence Howard was Rhodey. His name is something Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes.
Anyway, his last name is Rhodes. Yes, Dusty Rhodes. He was Rhodey in the first Iron Man, and he wasn't a superhero yet. And then in which Iron Man was it? It was probably Iron Man 2. When he finally gets the War Machine suit, like Tony Stark's Iron Man suit, is not until it's Don Cheadle. So it doesn't really matter. It's like he's not really like, he was just a side character in the first one. And then when they needed him to suit up, they gave it to Don Cheadle, because I think Terrence Howard didn't want to do it anymore. Stupid move, but
yeah, we're like, what the hell? I mean, why? Like,
I'm kind of glad it's Don Cheadle. I don't know if he would have. Because I think that if you go back to when Iron Man came out, there wasn't any other superhero movies that were like this. And so like I mean, Don Cheadle has been given like this like he has like a side character role, but he's almost in every Marvel movie. Like, it's crazy. It's like him, Anthony Mackie, like these guys who like signed on for this and then like didn't expect it to be where it is today.
Yeah, because each movie's making billions of dollars. Like, yeah. I can't imagine it's that hard to play. I mean, to play these roles either.
No, it can't be. It's like 4 months of shooting for one of these movies, and it's like very easy, like green screen type of act. Like I'm not saying that green screen acting is easy, but it's like you don't have to go out to these like lavish sets and travel all over the world. Most of the time, it's being shot in a soundstage.
Right.
So, yeah. But that is very cool.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for you. You know, I haven't seen any of the movies, so I'm not going to be.
One day we'll get you
in the know. Maybe.
One day.
I think I will. It's just, I mean, at this point, like I'm so far behind. It's such an investment.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's got to be one of those things where, like, when you're in the mood, you watch one a week.
Yeah.
And you catch up.
Because I do. I mean, I like the thought of it, and I like all the actors. So one day, we'll see. One day.
And honestly, there are a few you can skip. Like, there are a few that are very skippable, for sure. Like, as far as like you'd probably still like them, but in the grand scheme of the whole big story, you don't need them.
It's not vital.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, one day I'll have you make me a list of the vitals, the non-vitals, and I'll do my best.
Tom Pags needs one too.
Never seen him?
Hasn't. I think he watched he hasn't seen since like the first Avengers movie, which is 2011, 2012.
Oh boy, so he's what, 65 movies behind?
He's a few behind.
Were there any other trailers? I remember Avengers. I remember Joker. I mean, those kind of, I think, overshadowed any other ones, but I didn't know if there were any interesting ones that I'm missing.
No, I think that was it. I'm very disappointed that we haven't seen anything about Wonder Woman 1984 yet. As far as like talking about superhero movies,
I did see Wonder Woman, so I really enjoyed Wonder Woman. So that is nice.
It got, the sequel got delayed from, it was like supposed to come out this summer. It got delayed to next summer.
Oh,
which
wow.
is, I don't know what happened. I mean, it got delayed a while ago. Like, it got delayed very early in production. So I don't know if it was something just like maybe a scheduling conflict came up with any of the actors. Cause like, you know, you have Gal Gadot and Chris Pine,
yep,
who are the two main characters, and they're pretty big Hollywood actors and actresses, I would say. So,
yeah,
they probably have a lot.
Maybe they had to like do reshoots and they weren't available or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, it's delayed. And also the other thing is too, like Captain Marvel just came out. Endgame is coming out in April. Well, this month it is April. Holy fuck. And then you have this summer the next Spider-Man movie's coming out. And like, if you're DC, you have Shazam coming out this week, which looks a lot of fun. But then you have Wonder Woman coming out. It's like, it's tough to battle those movies. Also, Disney in general, never mind Marvel, like they own Marvel as well, but like they have The Lion King coming out this year. They have Dumbo coming out this year. They have the Aladdin movie coming out this year, and they have fucking Toy Story 4 coming out this year. How do you compete with that? How does any other studio compete with that? They have every weekend locked up through Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Every weekend is another big Disney movie. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few.
That's amazing, actually. If you just look at those four movies, I mean, there's no way any other studio is going to come up with a movie if you put it out the same weekend as those movies that you're going to beat them at the box office. It's not going to happen.
Imagine being Disney and saying with confidence that we're going to make $8 billion on movies this year, because I'm counting like you have Captain Marvel, you have, because it already made $1 billion.
Yep.
Avengers Endgame is probably going to make $2 billion at least. Yeah. The Spider-Man movie will make $1 billion, I bet. Total. And then you have Dumbo, Aladdin, Toy Story,
and they all look good. Like all four of those movies look good. It's not like people are going to go see them, out of spite or something. Like the Dumbo, I am the most excited for. It's got a cool cast, Colin Farrell and Danny DeVito, and just like, I don't know, something about a flying elephant. Really, it just works for me. I don't know what it does it for me. Oh yeah. So I tell Holly all the time, but yeah, I don't know. It just looks. I just think it looks fantastic. Any animal movie, really. Yeah, you know what I mean? The way they CGI these animals to make them look so realistic. Like, all it takes is one little thing, like their eyes like droop down a little. I'm like, well, no, I just want to kill everyone to make sure this animal's okay. It's amazing.
In The Lion King is going to be nuts. They did a mix of CGI animals, like realistic animals, and real animals. Like, it's going to look so real. It's nuts.
Yeah. I'm excited for that one too. That one, yeah, Aladdin looks good. Will Smith's genie looks a little strange, but
it's gonna be
it's got to be
fine.
fine.
People are all freaking out. It's gonna be fine.
If you want to be upset about it, be upset about it. The rest of us will enjoy it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So moving on to some very, very recent news, and when I say recent, I mean this morning. NBC or Saturday Night Live, what they usually do is, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, when they're announcing new hosts and musical guests, is they'll put out a tweet with some note cards, which is it's so cool. I love how they do it, and they have Kit Harington hosting tomorrow night, and then they have someone, I forgot who's hosting next week, but then they hadn't announced who was hosting after that, and they usually do 3 shows in May to finish the season off. So this morning, they announced for the first time since he left SNL 24 years ago, Adam Sandler is going to be hosting the show, which I am we're both huge Adam Sandler fans, but I am very, very excited for this.
What do you think is going to be the feel of his whole episode?
It's just going, well, because the thing with him is, like, before Jimmy Fallon, there was Adam Sandler. When it came to, like, he's not a great actor, but he's just, like, seems like he's having so much fun, and he constantly breaks. Like, he always breaks in sketches. Yeah. And when he joined the show in 1990, he joined as a writer, and then he joined the cast in 91, but he stayed on as a writer. And most of the sketches that he was in, and most of the sketches that became very popular, he wrote. Which I always thought was cool. Yeah. So that brings, like, a different, you have, like, say, a Will Ferrell who comes in and he's just this, like, tour de force performer, and you can write anything for him. But Sandler, what I like about him is he knows what he's good at. He knows what he's funny at because he knows, he looks at it from a writer's perspective. I think it's just going to be, like, a really feel-good episode. They're going to pull out some classics, that he did, whether it's, like, I always love the Canteen Boy sketch with Alec Baldwin, which they could bring that back because Alec Baldwin's always there. They can bring back Opera Man, Lunch Lady Land, so many different things. I really think it's just going to be a feel-good show for him. And up until a couple of years ago, everyone obviously asked him, like, why have you never gone back and host? And he was pretty honest, and he just said, I did that in my 20s, and now it's 30, 20 something years later. He's like, I don't feel like I still have that fastball where I can put on a performance worthy of it. And he doesn't want to just go in and do it to do it. Especially with the legacy he has on the show. But I don't know. I mean, the Netflix special he has out was I thought it was super funny. And
yeah, he still shows that he's still,
yeah. So maybe he's had a little revival, and he's got that show, that murder mystery show, which is like the sequel to Just Go With It, coming out on Netflix this year, which Just Go With It, I think, was my favorite movie recently of his. So I don't know. I mean, he definitely has stuff to promote, which is one thing, but I mean, he's had stuff to promote for decades. So I don't know. I'm excited. I think he's going to do a good job.
Yeah, I think he's going to do good too. I hope he whips out his guitar in at least one skit. And does like a fun little, like how he did Lunch Lady Land.
Do you think he'll do the Chris Farley tribute song?
Oh man, I don't know if I could.
I wouldn't be able to.
I guess. How awesome would it be for him to collaborate for the second song for the musical set, to collaborate with Shawn Mendes on that song?
That would be awesome. So, like, he kind of plays the guitar, and Mendes does the vocals, or they switch back and forth like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, however they figure that out.
Because it's one thing to hear that song, listen to it from his special. It would be another thing to listen to it on that stage, like at SNL.
Yeah. It would be awesome. He could also he could close it down with that. Like, that would be something.
Yeah.
Cool.
So instead of he gets
on stage,
instead of the thanks everyone for coming, that would be really cool.
Right. He closes it down with that, and then at the end of the song, everybody comes on stage, and I mean, if you do something like that, then you gotta bring on some of
you gotta bring David Spade, Tim Meadows, Kevin Nealon, right. Norm Macdonald, all those guys. Exactly. Which
you got to bring some of the old faces.
They got plenty of time to coordinate that. I don't know. I'm very excited for that. I haven't been watching it live, but I've been working a lot of overnight shifts, so I actually caught up on Don Cheadle. We talked about him earlier. He hosted Sandra Oh, Idris Elba.
Yeah, Sandra Oh.
Sandra Oh was pretty funny. Tishy.
Yeah, Tishy.
Why is your arm so broken?
Tishy was funny.
I thought the Don Cheadle one was really funny. The first 3 sketches he was in. Did you see any of his?
No, I didn't see any of the Don Cheadle
did. The first sketch was a Great American Bake Off parody. And the contestants are just all terrible at baking. So they have it covered with whatever, and they're so they show a picture, they're this is what I was going for. It's a Cookie Monster, theme. They pull it, it's just this blob of nothing. He's I'm so sorry. I'm just very bad at baking. I'm so sorry. And they're well, hey, maybe it tastes good.
Hello, everybody. We just had a little audio mishap, but we're back. We were just talking about Adam Sandler hosting I was just going to say Adam Sandler hosting WrestleMania. No, we were talking about Adam Sandler hosting, and we were talking about the Kit Harington. What was it? You were explaining that Kit Harington
7 Days in Hell.
Yeah.
It's an HBO. It was an HBO original documentary with Kit Harington and Andy Samberg. And just because, Jon Snow is not a comedic character. He doesn't have to be. He's not what he's known for. So when you have Kit Harington host SNL, sometimes the dramatic actors, can pull off the comedy. Sometimes they can't. But if you watch 7 Days in Hell on HBO, you'll see that SNL is in good hands with Kit Harington tomorrow night. So, and speaking of hosting WrestleMania, that duty goes to Alexa Bliss. Yes. She'll be hosting the show, which we will be at Sunday. Pre-show starts at 5. I figure we can get in around 6:30. Well, I want to tailgate for a bit. Mingle with the wrestling fans. Yeah. Well, the lot's open at 11 a.m. So if we're anything like last year, we'll be there 10:30. Waiting to get in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited. It's a historic show. We talked about a little bit last week. First time ever that the women have been in the main event, closing the show, which will probably be around midnight based on the current forecast of the card. But either way, Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. And a little change, because last week we did not know this, but both titles are on the line. So Ronda Rousey is the Raw Women's Champ, Charlotte Flair is the SmackDown Women's Champ, and both of those titles will be on the line. And whoever wins takes both titles, which is really cool. So a little extra spice for the first ever women's main event. So it's a 17-match card. As much as I love wrestling, I don't really want to go through and talk about our predictions for each match. It's be here until we leave to go to WrestleMania. But Matt, let's take the women's main event out of it for now, because I think we're both super excited for that. But what match are you most excited for?
It's tough. I'm gonna have to go Triple H. I'm gonna have to go Triple H.
I think that's gonna be a good match.
Yeah, I just think that I first of all, I'm definitely most excited for his entrance, because he is the man to watch at WrestleMania now. He's made this entrance thing a yearly party. It's what is he gonna do this year? I don't know if he can top being what was the one he did last year? Last year wasn't the Terminator, right? It was
last year.
It was the one he was supposed to be on a horse, right? Or was that the the year we went?
That was the year we went. He was supposed to come out on a horse, but then the horse fell through the stage in rehearsals, and that's where the Undertaker would have been coming out from. So it would have crushed him. Yeah. Last year I think. Who did he fight last year? He fought Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
I think, is that the one where Stephanie was elevated above the Titantron and
oh yes, it was.
Yeah, she was the queen, talking down to her minions. That was kind of badass, and she was just that was really cool.
So I'm excited to see what Batista still has left in the tank.
Which I think he's got something left, Yeah. And the good thing is that the smart thing they do is they make these matches no holds barred. It doesn't need to be rest holds and chin locks. Let them run around the arena, hit each other with chairs. You can get away with it at 50.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm with you on that. It's going to be a good match.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, I'm really into Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan. I think the build has been fantastic. They've really like put it off, even though we all kind of knew Kofi was going to, I think, get the title shot. They waited and waited and waited, and then finally had Big E and Xavier Woods earn it for him, which was really cool. Which showed like how tight that group is and how important New Day, how important they are to each other. Daniel Bryan is just the ultimate piece of shit. Only in wrestling, the guy who cares about the planet, only in wrestling is he the ultimate heel. Screw you, I'm going to eat all this meat and litter. And it's just like so funny. But I'm really excited for that because, I want to see how it ends. Like, does Kofi just straight up win? Does Daniel Bryan straight up win? Kevin Owens has been subtly involved in this. He's not on the Mania card, and right now he's a good guy, but it just feels wrong. Like, Kevin Owens should always be a bad guy. So, I don't know. I'm excited because I think, one, it's going to be a fantastic match, and two, I honestly have no idea how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen that often. And this, usually you can say, all right, this is how it's going to end. But I think that match has a chance to steal the show. But either way, it's going to be a fantastic bout.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah,
very excited either way. I'm just like, this is like, I'm so like, I've been so busy lately that I haven't really been able to think about it. And now that all that's in front of me is WrestleMania, I'm so excited to go and wear my jacket.
It's just, oh yeah, but it's just happening. Like, there's nothing between us now. Between us and WrestleMania, it's just us.
Just a few 100 miles. That's it.
That's it. It'll be nothing. We're all driving up together in a nice big van, SUV van.
Should be a good time. Should be a good time in the van. What a crew too. What a crew.
Oh, great crew. And we'll definitely have to report back next week on the drive and on the show itself.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's we got.
Yeah, so Matt, what I know you've been busy with work, but what have you been watching? You got anything new?
Oh, I've been watching a lot, actually. So I've been trying to catch up on Walking Dead. I didn't quite get to the finale. I'm still a few episodes short of that, but I've been liking the way that they've been building up the new villains in that. I don't want to say anything. We'll wait because I know that's on your list as well. So we'll talk about it together. I've been watching the show on Netflix called Sex Education. Have you seen any of that?
I have not.
So I watched the whole thing. It's 8 episodes, hour episodes each. It's very good. It's with and I don't know the kid's name. He's from Ender's Game and a few other movies. But anyway, he's in it. His name's Otis in the show. And it's just about his mom is a sex therapist. And so he's been brought up like talking very openly about sex and shit like that. And he just is very uncomfortable by it, even though they talk about it all the time. It's like, he's very funny. And so in school, like there's a lot of kids in high school, there's a lot of kids that are having issues with, sex and things like that. And so he becomes like a sex therapist for these kids in high school and makes a little extra money on the side. It's very funny.
So interesting
8 episodes on Netflix.
Interesting storyline.
Yeah. So it's very funny. He has a few friends that like help him along the way, and shit goes on just like any normal, high school show. There's dances and, girlfriends and boyfriends and shit like that. So it's funny, very funny. Characters are very good. The second season is filming starting in the spring, so it's starting to film anytime now, so it'll probably be out in the fall. It's very good. I would highly recommend it. I've also been watching The Twilight Zone on CBS All Access, the Jordan Peele new Twilight Zone show. First of all, I didn't realize that CBS also had the rights to all of the old Twilight Zone episodes. Ooh. And they have all of that on the app, which is fantastic. And the Rod Sterling Twilight Zone show is awesome, one of my favorites. So I've been watching a little bit of those as well, some of my favorites. But I also watched the first episode of the new season with Jordan Peele. And Kumail Nanjiani was the first episode. He's a comedian in it, which he's a comedian in real life as well. Very good. Very, very good. And I like it as like a tone setter for the rest of the season. I guess they only release a few episodes at a time, or like one a week, because there's only 2 episodes available right now. It's the one that I watched, and then another one with starring Adam Scott.
Huh.
So I don't know. Like, unless I'm not using the app correctly.
So it's not like you can just binge them all right away.
Yeah, no, I guess not. I guess they don't do it that way, which I kind of like, I guess.
Yeah, so that way you get a little taste, because I feel like if they were all there, you just watch them all.
Yeah, so it's very good and very well done. And like the Twilight Zone old show, I mean, I think you're familiar with it,
I am,
right?
yes.
So Rod Sterling would do these little like awesome like little intros, and then like wrap up the episode with like a little like cool little like written like segment talking about what happened and what the moral of the story is, kind of thing. And Jordan Peele does it so well. It's crazy. I didn't think that I was going to like it because it wasn't Rod Sterling, and like, just like thinking like, how can they, not that I wasn't going to like it, but like that it wasn't going to have the same feel. But Jordan Peele, like he like tried to mimic like him, and he did such a good job at it. And it's like, it's like his own thing, but also like, if you're watching that show and you just tune in, you don't know what the name of the show is, and you're watching Jordan Peele do his little spiel at the beginning and the end of the episodes, you know exactly what you're watching. You're watching a Twilight Zone episode.
Because I read that he originally didn't want to have the Rod Sterling role. No, like he didn't want to be in front of the camera at all. And then I guess someone had convinced him to do it. He said, but like originally he's like, I didn't want to be in front of the camera. Like I just wanted to be, doing my thing behind the scenes. But then he got convinced to portray that role as well. I'm glad to hear he's doing well.
Yeah, I wasn't sure he was going to do it or not. I haven't heard anything about it. I know he was in like the promos and everything, so it would have been weird for him not to. But I think it would have worked either way. But I'm just so glad that he did do it because it makes it that much better, I think.
Like, so he clearly brings something to the show with like his portrayal of that.
Oh yeah, he definitely brings something to the show for sure. Very cool. So that's what I've been watching.
Very nice. Well, I've also been watching Walking Dead. I am caught up, and same as you, I'm just very happy with the way they've introduced the villains. The finale was, it kind of reminded me almost of Game of Thrones, like how they do their seasons, like the penultimate episode, so the second to last episode, is usually the one where all the shit goes down, and that's what happened this year. It was like the actually 2 or 3 prior to the finale. They were just like a lot of the story heavy, but action heavy. Like a lot of stuff happened, and then the finale, people were let down by it. But it's like it set up the next season, like especially with the final scene. So I didn't mind it, and again, there was just so much happening and so much action in the 2 to 3 before that I was okay with it. But I think it's doing well. I mean, you're never going to get back to what it was, back in the heyday. But I think it's on the right path, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's what my mom said too. She said that the second to last episode is like the big one, and then she even said too it's like Game of Thrones. So I was like, she loves Walking Dead. Like she's been watching religiously for basically the entire show. She doesn't miss it. She doesn't she rewatches it like just a couple days later. Like that's it. Like she'll either watch it live or a couple days later. So she's been very excited about it, which actually got me back into it between you and her explaining it. So I'm very excited about this, and hopefully I still haven't seen that penultimate episode, so
it always helps to have people hype it up for you, especially like when they let you down for multiple seasons, really. Like they kind of weren't that good, so it's hard to get back in the saddle of a show you trusted, and they lose your trust a little bit. So, but yeah, you'll definitely like the direction it's heading. Another couple Netflix movies I watched. One was Highwaymen. I don't know why I keep saying it, but it was Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner, based on a true story, and they were Texas Rangers, and they're actually the 2 highwaymen that killed Bonnie and Clyde back when they were on their terror spree. So cool. It's like it documents them. It starts up with the governor of, I can't remember what state, Michigan maybe, or one of the states, played by Kathy Bates. Also Joe Bennett from The Office. But so she calls they're trying to catch Bonnie and Clyde, but no one can, and they keep killing all these police officers. So they call in the Texas Rangers, who are like the top of the top, like, you know, like how we have state troopers now. Like they were these guys. Like if you need to catch criminals, that's who you got. But Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson were like old war buddies who became Texas Rangers, who then retired. But the governor brings them out of retirement, and then they go on this like cross country expedition to try and kill Bonnie and Clyde. And the thing I really liked about it is, you know, Bonnie and Clyde were in the 20s or 30s, but the fascination that some people had with them, even though they were cold-blooded killers, they were killing cops, they were killing innocent people. But there was this narrative making its way around that, no, you know, they're only stealing from the rich to give to the poor, and, you know, they're not the bad guys, and no one would rat them out. And it's kind of fascinating now because we definitely have that obsession with like look how many goddamn Ted Bundy shows are on Netflix right now. Like the Ted Bundy tapes. Zac Efron's playing Ted Bundy. Like our society has a fascination with these psychopaths for whatever reason. And I think it started with Bonnie and Clyde because newspaper was just getting started. Radio was prevalent. They didn't have TV, but and I think it took so long for them to find Bonnie and Clyde because people were putting them up. They were like housing them and not telling the authorities because they thought they were these vigilantes when in fact they were just these murderers. So it's a definitely pro-police, like pro-Texas Ranger movie. It's not like, oh, Bonnie and Clyde was this love story of these you know, these teens. It's like, no, they drove around, shot people, and just killed people and stole. So it's heavy on that perspective, but it was really well done. And Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner, I mean, they're just like, it's like grumpy old men. They're not that old, but they're just like bickering back and forth, and they were really good in it. So I did like it. I would highly recommend it. It's long. It's like 2.5 hours. But it's very, very good. There's a couple scenes that are just like shot very well. It's like very tense, which I really like. So if you have some free time, I would definitely check that out. And then the other one is The Dirt, the Motley Crue movie.
Yeah.
Oh, really good. That movie was just fun. Like that, The Highwayman. I don't know why I have trouble saying that. It's like a weird word. Like it doesn't sound right. Highwaymen.
Yeah.
But that movie, it didn't drag, but you could tell it was a long movie. The Dirt, it ended, and I was like, man, like I wish it kept going. It was just super fun. Yeah. And it was, you know, it was based on the book that they all wrote, all the band members. And it was told from the perspective of Nikki Sixx. But it was just really good. All the acting was great. It's actually super weird because the actor who played Ramsey Bolton is one of the band members, and he's just like the really quiet, like reserved band member. And it's frightening. Really, he just is always just like sitting there. Like he wasn't a partier or a drinker or anything. He was one of the guitarists. But like what Tommy Lee used to do in Nikki Sixx and Vince, what the hell's his name? The singer. Not Vince Gill. He's a country singer.
Yeah.
Vince, what the hell's the lead singer's name?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry, it's gonna bother me.
Yeah, look it up.
Vince Neil.
This was done by
Neil.
Vince who?
Yeah.
Oh, right. This was done by the guy who did the Jackass.
Yeah, Jeff Tremaine.
Right?
It was really well done. Just shows like how insane they were, and like there was a couple things that I didn't know happened, which I won't. If you want to watch it, I won't spoil it. But how like these super tragic, awful things happened because of all the drinking and drugs they were doing, and yet they just like picked right back up. Like it didn't affect their life at all. So that was really good. I would recommend that. And then I started Barry and Veep. Both started this past Sunday. So Barry is becoming one of my favorite shows on TV. Awesome season premiere, and Veep's final season premiered as well. So that was also very fun.
Yeah. I think I talked about it last podcast, but I watched all of Barry.
It's so good.
And I loved it. It was so good. It was very, very funny. It was the characters are very good. And so I'm excited to watch season 2. I haven't started it yet, but I gotta imagine when I do, I'll just be burning through.
And Alec Berg and Bill Hader just like have this connection that is working very well.
Yeah, I was telling you, if I had known that Berg was doing Barry, like if I had realized that sooner, I would have watched it immediately. Like I would have put everything aside and started watching.
An amazing,
he's amazing. Yeah.
That's it.
So very cool, very very cool. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. This has been episode 73 of the average. Oh my god! Wow, this is the Average Nobodies podcast number 73 for April 5th, 5 IV 2019. You can find us on averagenobodies.com, at Average Nobodies on Twitter, youtube.com/The Average Nobodies. You got anything else you want to say before we?
I don't. But I'm excited for WrestleMania, and I'm excited for story time next week. And I will see you, good sir, tomorrow morning.
Ooh, I can't wait.
All right,
can't wait.
Have a good week, everyone. Morning.